Chandrasekhar is a consultant and NABH coordinator at Arvind High Hospital, Coimbatore. He has received University Gold Medal in his MS Ophthalmology, belongs to the first batch of KAHU Basic CPQIH program and has successfully completed NABH SSR training program. He has 15 years of experience in NABH related activities and he has been a part of expert group to formulate NABH eco standards. I invite Dr. D. Chandrasekhar to chair the session.
Respected faculty members and dear friends, so we've been having an absorbing session in the morning and ended off with a fantastic talk on code of ages. So now, how many of you here are doing NABH implemented? Okay. How many of you are accredited hospitals? And how many are from entry-level hospitals? Okay. So basically, I'm sure many of you are waiting for this particular session on NABH related HRM. Even if you are doing entry-level certification, as far as possible, do what you can do maximum. And today, even see there is a beautiful book by KAHU for basic CPQH. There is a wonderful guidebook. But in spite of that, the best explanations are given only in the 5th edition book. So all relevant standards, you follow the 5th edition book. So finding the right number of people, right person for the right job. It is a total comprehensive package. I have great pleasure and it's an honor to invite the speaker, Mrs. Gracy Mathai. She is the CEO of Baby Memorial Hospital, Calicut. She has done revolutionary changes in the nursing administration in the Mumbai Municipal Corporation. She has held top positions at national and state levels for various associations. Right now, she is part of the KAHU and as far as NABH is concerned, she is a principal assessor, done more than 100 multi-speciality hospital assessments. She is a faculty for assessor course for POI and QCI Nursing Excellence. For all these things, she has been regularly called as a faculty. She is a member of the Accreditation Committee for NABH QCA for 2 terms now completed. Technical Committee for NABH and QCA 2 terms have been completed. She is a member of the Accreditation Committee and continues to be member of the Accreditation Committee. And she is the State Chairman for KAHU chapter, Kerala chapter. Welcome, madam.
Warm good afternoon to all of you. Thanks for that good introduction, Dr. Chandrasekhar. See, we all have entered into NABH 5th edition. And there are some changes, specifically in the 5th edition, when you compare with all other previous editions. When you look into all those 4 editions, which has happened from 2006 onwards, what you can see, the training were imparted from AAC to IMS. But what has happened in the 5th edition, all those training have been brought into HRM standard. Otherwise, AAC some training, COP some training, MOM some training or awareness, all those things were there. All those things have been now consolidated into HR. Another thing in the change which is brought into the HRM standard of NABH is that there were only 2 credentialing and privileging for only 2 categories of people, which were that nursing and doctors. Now there is an inclusion of other paraclinical services. So that is the major changes which has been brought into that. Another again a change has been brought in the HIC also, it is there, even in the HRM is also there, that staff health. More important is being this time given to staff health. Okay, so with this small introduction, let us look into what is in detail in the HR. The intent of this particular chapter is that this chapter deals with the most important resource of an organization. Human resource is the most important, and from morning onwards, we are listening into human resource aspect and what all human resource, how we can retain, how we can upskill. It was all happening, and at the end we have seen even the responsibilities of Human Resource in Wages Act and various other acts. So, human resource is the most difficult resource to be held or to be retained. Why? Because each one of us are born with the flesh and blood. Now, if someone asks me, you sit from this chair to that chair, I will say I won't sit. Why? Because I am comfortable in the chair where I am sitting. So that is the human resource. Whereas if it is this chair, I can take this chair from one side to another, it won't resist it. So human resource is one of the difficult resource to be tackled. And the goal is to acquire, provide, retain and maintain competent people. Morning onwards, we have seen how to acquire, how to provide training, and how to retain, and how to maintain competent people that already you have seen. May not be an NABH point of view, but in a general point of view. The third thing is to ensuring safety and health of the employees. That's what I told you. A new thing is being added. New standard is being added. The term employee refer to all salaried personnel working in the organization. Whereas when you call staff, any person who is working in the organization, either free or on a contract basis or on a trainee basis or even on an observer basis if somebody is coming. So all those things are considered as staff, and the people, those who are in the role that is on a salary basis, and they have been considered as what? Employee. So this you have to remember. The summary of the standard I will not take in short of time. So again, they have emphasized who is an employee as well as who is that staff. Now let us look into HRM 1. The organization has a documented system of human resource planning. Documented system of human resource planning. When someone comes to you as an assessment, they may ask you, what is your human resource planning? Show me the document on human resource planning. Then you just verbally say, no, my planning is based on the number of patient, the type of patient, the acuity level of the patient, or if I am starting a new organization, new department, it may vary, or if only all the departments are continuing, that may vary. Not that. You must have a documented, a written one regarding the resource planning. So, HRM 1A, human resource planning support the organization's current and the future ability to meet the care, treatment and service need of the patient. So you are going to plan the human resource. When you plan the human resource, you will be planning the human resource for today. Today what do you want? And then again you will plan for future. Future, next year, what is in your strategy? Are you planning to start a new department? Or are you going to change one of your department presently working as a ward or as ordinary ICU, you are going to change it into a transplant ICU, or maybe a bone marrow transplant you are planning to start. So based on your future, what is in your future, and when you look into the future, you have to see that appropriate care and treatment is being given to the patient. That is our aim. Why we are planning human resource? Just to give appropriate care and treatment to our patient. So it has to be on a structured manner. Structured means written down. Why? There have to be criteria laid down. What can be the criteria? I'll just give you few examples of criteria. Number of patients. Second criteria, number of different categories of staff. You take from nursing to doctors to other category, and that also mix of staff. Mix of staff we cannot manage only with the executive level staff. We require lower level staff, we require higher level staff, so all mix of staff. And again, when you plan, you see that acuity level of your patient, and then how you are going to plan. Again, you will look into last year already you have planned, but still you find some problem in the last year. So all those problems what you have faced last year also will be covered this time. So this time I should not have that problem. Another most important thing last year what you have faced is that because of the COVID, many of your employees were down with COVID. So now this time maybe some other COVID or some other disease can come. So you must have a contingency plan for that. Another thing, last year you found that many of your young girls gone on maternity leave. It was never like that. Hardly there were only 1 or 2 or 3 girls used to go for maternity leave. But last year suddenly you found your population of that level of population, and you found some 20 people, 30 people gone into maternity leave. And again you found some chickenpox outbreak was there. Whatever is there. So your planning was accurate for last year, but still you found there was some lacuna. So from when you plan for this year, you have to see that all those lacunas have been covered. That is very important that you have to look into. And then another thing is that whatever you have planned last year, whatever problem you have faced, or when you found that some additional staffs were there last year because of the COVID, your patient strength are drastically gone down, and then you are excess staff. So that also you have to keep it in mind when you are planning this year. So this is the way, and of course, whatever your planning have to be based on your hospital's strategic planning, your hospital's operational planning, your hospital's vision, mission, and value. Based on that, you have to plan. Coming into HRM 1B, the organization maintain an adequate number and mix of staff to meet the care. Adequate number and mix, I need not elaborate, all of you know that. Number is something, and then mix. Mix means different categories of staff. You cannot manage your clinical department with all clinicians on a specialist level, or all clinicians on an RMO level, or all clinicians on a senior consultant level. You require the senior consultant, you require junior consultant, you require specialist, you require associate professor, whatever is designation what you give you in your organization based on that. Same like in nursing, you take you require a CNO or a nursing director, deputies and nurse managers, then head nurses, then staff nurses or team leader, then of course your support people. Or mix you have to have. We cannot run with one different category. So that is what we have to think. But again, what our standard tells us that when you plan, you have to plan for a short-term basis, absent basis or shortage basis, as well as a long-term. Short-term means today there was a bus strike, or today there is a big flood. What has happened? Many of your people could not come for duty. It's a short term. That morning duty people could not come, or an afternoon shift people could not come. So that's a short term. Long term means maybe a week when somebody falls sick, maybe for a week. And when, same like what I told you, when somebody is pregnant and gone for maternity leave, it may be minimum for a period of 6 months. So that way you have to plan in your this thing. And there are, especially when you think about nursing, there are Indian Nursing Council guidelines are there. And again, there are WHO guidelines are also there. So with this all, we may have to look into that. Now, HRM 1C, the organization has contingency plans to manage long and short-term workforce shortages, including unplanned shortages. Unplanned, what I said just now, that is an unplanned. There was a flood, it's an unplanned. There is a strike, or the bus was not coming, it's an unplanned. So all for that unplanned also we have. So many organizations, what they do, they will have a list of their old people. Why I said that list of that old people? See, I might have many staff who left my organization, not they have gone abroad, or not they are unhappy with my organization. They might have taken leave, or they might have gone, or they might have resigned because their family requirements may expect them to remain in the family. Why? Because in the hospital we have tedious schedule. Tedious schedule means morning shift, afternoon shift, evening shift. So all these different type of shifts are there that our people may not be able to adjust. So there may be some people who can come for a part-time, or who can come for maybe for a week, or maybe someone may come for night duty because their husbands or in-laws may be there in the family during the night, so that particular time they can come for duty. So you can have a list of that also in order to solve this particular problem, because suddenly if you have some problem, you will not get nurses, you will not get doctors, you will not get your front office people. This cannot be generated within one day. So you must have some list of these people. Your HR can keep, or concerned department can keep, and you can call them and you can get their help. So this is the way again we have to look into. HRM 4D, the job specification and job description are defined for each category. Job specification means the experience and the qualification required for a particular post. I'm not going to tell about each post. What is the job specification for a front office manager? What is the job specification for an HR manager or an assistant manager HR. Specification means what should be the minimum qualification and minimum experience for each categories of staff. So you must have, HR must keep a record of job specification of entire categories of staff in the organization. Now this also, in your job specification, you may have a job, in your job description, you may have job specification also, because what is required. But what has happened when an assessor comes, this is not a must I am telling, but just it will help you in future. When an assessor comes, they'll ask you, show me the job specification of XYZ. So you have to go to that particular person's file, take it out and show that this is the job specification. Whereas if you keep the entire job specification in one particular file, entire what all designation you have, all those job specification in one file, it can be hard copy or soft copy. They ask anyone's job specification, you can open that also. It is just, I am not telling it's mandatory, I am not telling it is requirement, it's for your easy handling, you can have that. So that is job specification. Coming to job description, that one, when I go for assessment in many of the organizations, what we found that there is a common job description that is not accepted. Common job description is not accepted. A nurse who is working in the ICU should have a job description of ICU. If a nurse who is working in the dialysis must have a job description of dialysis. You can have that general common one, but the specific job description have to be there. Almost I can say about 80 to 90% of the hospital where I have gone, I found they have a common job description, and then it become an NC, and then they have to prepare. So you see that there is specific job description for each one. Another thing regarding the job description. Okay, till now I was working as a front office executive. Now what has happened, you have promoted me an assistant manager or a team leader or a manager, or maybe temporary, may not be. You have just given me, you have not given me an additional responsibility. My designation is also not changed. You have given me an additional responsibility along with that executive, that assistant manager. So my job descriptions must show that responsibility which has been performed by an assistant manager. That also have to be there. So you may say, no, she is being promoted yesterday only, or she was there also. So that is not possible. Now, before I forget, something else also I'll tell. When you have promoted her, or when you have given her, it may be something coming in some other slide, but I should not forget, that's why I'm telling. Now what has happened, when you have promoted her or you have given her additional responsibility, you have to additionally given her some training. Because till now, she was in a staff level. Now she is promoted, or she is being given an additional charge as an assistant manager, little administrative. So that administrative capacity, administrative training, maybe 1 hour training, maybe 2 hour training, internal training. I'm not telling that you have to send her for external training. So such type of training have to be given to your particular staff, and the record of the training also have to be there in your HR record. Now again, NABH specify 2 situations, especially when we call it as a doctor or a nurse. See, especially what I have found, I don't know in Tamil Nadu what is there, in Maharashtra as well as in Gujarat, BAMS and BHMS doctors are managing the clinical aspect of the patient. And they have a government notification from the government that these doctors can be managed this particular case. Though it has been given by the Maharashtra government or by the Gujarat government, NABH do not accept that. Okay, so NABH do not accept any BAMS or BHMS doctor perform active or direct patient care. So if your hospital is going to go for NABH, or it is already gone and maybe waiting for re-accreditation or something, you have to see that those people have been given other administrative or assisting work, but not as a doctor. So job description of a doctor means that doctor have to be minimum MBBS. Same like nurses. Many hospitals we found, especially in South India, North India, earlier there were much, now it has been reduced. What we found in many organizations, a person who has worked with any doctor in any of his clinic, she or he had gained some experience and some knowledge, and later part they consider her or him as a nurse. that is not there. A nurse has to be a registered nurse with the state nursing council. So that is the requirement. Minimum nurse means a registered GNM, minimum GNM with a nursing council, and doctor means just an MBBS, not any BIMS or BHMS. Coming into HRM 1E, the organization perform a background check of new staff. Now here again, background check of new staff, earlier there were police verification. Now the fifth standard do not talk about police verification, but you can take a self-attested form from the employee that there is no legal things pending against him or her in any of the court of law, any of the police station, that you can take, that is sufficient. But what the NABH standard 5th edition specifically say that when a when you are going to recruit a new person to your organization, their background check means their experience, their behavior, their attitude. Now morning we were hearing about attitude. It's not only the qualification and experience. We should look into the attitude of that particular person. So you have to check that attitude and all those things. And sometimes what happens, many fake certificates are also given. Many, even in medicine, even in nursing, even in other category, there are wrong certificate or fake certificates are also given. So that you have to check whether this person is holding a valid certificate and how are the person in that organization. One of the organizations where I went in Tamil Nadu itself, long back, I am talking about some 3, 4, 5, 6 years back, they have an IT manager, and there was some rift between that IT manager and the management, and the IT manager left the organization. He did one good thing, while leaving he has just deleted everything of the system. So you can imagine what would have happened in that hospital. So you are checking the antecedent verification of a particular person, that how he was there in that organization. There it will help you that how you serve. And this verification have to be done within 1 month of joining or prior to joining. Either within 1 month of joining, prior to joining. Earlier it was prior to joining. But what has happened? Prior to joining, if you are going to apply for my hospital, naturally I will ask your organization, how is your behavior, how is your attitude, what about all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. So naturally your organization will come to know that there is an inquiry, so that your organization will ask you, either they will stop you or they may not send you. So now NABH has given a leverage, doesn't matter, prior, no need not, you can have it prior, you got it, otherwise within 1 month of the joining of the employee, we have to ask this verification. Coming to HRM 1F, reporting relationships are defined for each category of staff. This is again very, very important. See, many times our organization, including mine, many things we hide and seek. We are not telling openly to our employee that whom you are going to report. An employee is being taken for one particular post, and when she or he joined, and she found she has a functional head, and she has other routine head, and she also have accountable or talk to other people also. I will take a girl who is working in the dialysis department or an endoscopy department, a nurse who is working in the endoscopy. So she will have her nurse manager, she will have her head nurse to be reported, and again she also will have to report to the doctor who is the in charge of the endoscopy things, and each one will say, no, she is directly working under me, she has to listen to me. So multiple people are there. So whatever is there, what we have to very clearly mention in the hierarchy, in the organization chart, that who is reporting to whom. And there can be one more reporting, that's only a functional reporting. So 2 reporting can be there in some cases, like maybe for sanctioning of leave and all, she will be reporting to the nursing department, and for other administrative or working of the endoscopy, she will be reporting to the endoscopy, who is the in charge of that endoscopy. It's all you have to define. I will not say that whom and where you have to do. So that it has to be told to the people where you stand in the hierarchy. That is very, very important, and that is specifically in this 5th edition, it elaborated and it brought, and a transparent organogram. You know that the hospital organogram, we may not be able to do all these things. It become big. Doesn't matter. Your first and second and third level can be in the main organogram. Then from the third onwards, you can have departmental organogram, and that has to be there in the department. Exit interviews are conducted and used as a tool to improve human resource. This is again very important. Nobody say mandatory, but what has happened when I am working in that organization? Though I have various points to raise, though I am not happy with my immediate manager, though I am not happy with my immediate supervisor, but I will not voice. Why I will not voice? Then there will be vindictiveness from me. Everybody will take vindictive action against me, so that what will happen? I will keep quiet. So when I go out, if you want to know what is exactly happening in that particular organization, you can catch hold of that particular person during exit, and you can ask them that to explain how she felt about the seniors or other co-workers in that particular department. Now, morning also, we have seen that 360 level of evaluation. Though you say 360 also, when I am working under you, I will not evaluate you in a proper way because I am working under you. The 360 will not help there. Whereas when I am leaving and going, this 360 is going to help us. So that way, it is better we can ask the employee to give an exit interview. Now again, I would like to warn you, since I am a CEO. See, if somebody will have jealous on you, somebody will have to take revenge on you. In their exit interview, though it is not happened, they will say blah blah blah, all these things are happening. So that all the judgment of the HR people, which should be taken and which should not be taken, but that will help you. Coming into HRM 2, the organization implemented a defined process for staff recruitment. Again, you must have a written process for the recruitment of your staff. You have to write down in detail how you are going to recruit a staff. What is your policy of recruiting staff? Are you going to give an advertisement in the newspaper? Are you take it from your own some biodata bank may be there? Are you going to take from them? Or are you going to put a notice in your outside your HR department that if any of your internal people, they are willing to apply for that promotional post? Are you going to that? Or are you going to tell your employees that if you have anyone known among you, you can bring them? What? Whichever is there. Whatever is there, that please prepare a protocol that this is the way I am going to do the recruitment. And now, once you have prepared the recruitment, even though the chairman's son or daughter or nearest relatives is being appointed, everyone have to go through that protocol. Whether you can take them, there is nothing, but they also have to go through that protocol, that there will be written test if there is, and there will be oral test by first level, second level, third level, all you can define, but everything have to be on that. Nobody should be taken from the back door. That what is happening in our Kerala government, every recruitment is from the back door, so no such thing should happen. So your recruitment process have to be based on a protocol which you have written, and it also should be based on some statutory requirement. Statutory means here what? Certain statutory, anyone can tell me one statutory requirement for HR recruitment. Huh? Age. No. What I am telling, you want to recruit an RSO. Can you recruit anybody as an RSO? No. Then what do you require? AERB permission you require. So it's a statutory. So where you want to recruit statutory, and the same way only you have to recruit. Another thing, it may not be statutory, but it may be NABH requirement. That you would like to recruit a cardiologist, but that particular person whom have approached you is only an MD physician, but by virtue of his experience of working for cardiology patient for the last 10 years, now he has applied for a cardiologist in your organization. Can you take? You cannot take. Because he might have worked as a cardiologist in his village, in his small hospital, wherever he has worked, or he might have excelled also in his profession there. But when we take as an accredited hospital, when we take a cardiologist, we require minimum qualification of DM cardiology. So that is what recruitment based on your legal things. B, a pre-employment medical examination is conducted on the staff. Every employee, whoever is come to your organization, pre-employment medical examination has to be done. What all tests need to be done, you have to define. Now, my standard do not say that this test need to be done. That let the organization define. Organization can have a common standard, or organization can have a different standard, like maybe less than 40 age this will be done, above 40 age this will be done, or this particular post this test will be done, this particular post this will be done. That all you have to do. But one important thing is there in the 5th standard, that whatever test has been done, it has been free of cost. You should not charge the employee for the pre-medical examination. Earlier you can charge, but now you cannot charge. The hospital have to bear the cost. At the same time, HIV test is not mandatory. You cannot have an HIV test for a person before recruiting or before appointing them. Or that should not be a reason for rejecting that particular post. That is also not accepted. HRM 2C, the organization define and implement a code of conduct for its staff. Now, code of conduct, it is very, very important. Now, when it comes to code of conduct, though the standard have not elaborated, but just I would like to elaborate and tell you, you can have, because many of you are HR people, you can have a general code of conduct applicable to every employee of the organization. Okay? Then, into that general code of conduct, something additional for the doctors, which you will be taking from the, it is a medical council requirement, is there, additional thing have to be there. Again, nursing council code of conduct for a nurse is there, and that is additional for a nurse. So you will have a common code of conduct. Otherwise, though the standard very specifically have not said, the assessor will ask you why that is not there in the code of conduct. When you have a general code of conduct for a nurse as well as a doctor, the assessor can ask you, is this only for a code of conduct for a nurse, or is this only for a code of conduct for a doctor? No, there are some additional things. That's a requirement. So you can have a general code of conduct applicable to everybody, and you can have some additional thing into that general code of conduct for nurses, which you will be taking from the Indian Nursing Council as well as the International Council of Nurses. Same like from the doctors also. MCI guidelines very clearly tell the code of conduct, so you can have that. But very important thing is that code of conduct have to be taken as a training to the person during the induction, and you have to take their signature on the code of conduct. When you hand over a code of conduct to your employee, you have to take the signature. Why? Tomorrow, your own employee will say, no, this was not told to me. This I was not knowing that this has to be there, so I did not behave in that way. So, code of conduct means how an employee should behave in the organization. So, all those things will come, not 1 or 2, 3 things, it's in detail. So, see that you will take the signature of the employee at the time of joining. Administrative procedures for human resource management are documented. There are various administrative procedures in the human resource department. What is your leave policy, your attendance policy, your promotion, your disciplinary action, your grievance handling. All these are the administrative policies of the organization, and these also have to be there in the human resource department, and this also need to be coming in the future. This also need to be trained to all your employees at the time of induction. So your conduct and your replacement, or sometimes you may be shifted from one hospital to another hospital. If I have 4 hospitals, all those things will be coming as the administrative policy. Coming into HRM 3, staff are now, first 2 chapter is over. Standard is over. Now the third one is induction. So as I told you in the introduction itself, entire training is being brought to HR. So HRM 3, 4, 5 and 6 is only dealing with the training. So let us look into those training. So HRM 3 is dealing with the induction training. Induction training should be done at the time of joining. Staff are provided with the induction training. Every staff has been provided with the induction training. Every staff, when I say, even your contract worker, even your doctor on part-time basis, even your doctor full-time, even your nurses, your every category. And specifically our NABH standard prominently said that doctors. Why? Because many organizations feel that, oh, doctors are not employees. So they should not come into picture or they should not come into the purview of this. No, everyone have to be given an induction training. What all things should be covered in the induction training, that I will be telling in the next 1 or 2, 3, 4 slides. But few I have already told you that induction training should cover your code of conduct, induction training should cover your administrative policies, all those things should be there, but I'll be telling into your. Now, so you have to give induction training, and induction training should be completed within 15 days of joining of the employee. That is again this time it is brought into 15 days. You have to see that 15 days. Now many organizations what they do, they have 2 days of joining for any employee. In my organization what we do, first and the third Monday will be the joining date for an employee. So what has happened? When the employee join itself, we conduct the induction training. Why we have started that? Because once you appoint a person and give the person to a particular department, nobody send them back for an induction training, and that person will remain there without any induction training, and they will have all excuses. Their HOD will have many excuses. They also will have many excuses, and that may be 1 or 2 file which will be remaining with you without an induction training, and that is the same file the assessor will take and it become an NCT. So see that at the first instant only induction training is done. So that is what induction training is been done, and induction training is not end with the HR induction training. Induction training for nurses and all, there are 3 levels of induction training. One, HR will be doing the general induction. When that girl or boy will go to nursing department, additional nursing departmental training will be there. From there, when they go to OT or an ICU, a 3rd level of training will be there. In our other category, there are 2 levels, one at the HR level and one at the departmental level. So you must have the record of both, one at the HR and one at the department. The entire record of your training, all those training what I am talking to you have to be there in the employee file. But a hospital like mine, where we have n number of training, we cannot keep all those things. So we keep on an electronic record. We keep it on, but that electronic record is available with 1 click. Anyone asks you, show me the training of this particular person on this aspect, it is available with 1 click. Otherwise, you go on looking the paper here and there and you don't get, then again it become an NC. So that should not be there. So that's what you have to keep a record of those particular training. HRM 3B, the induction training include what all should be there in the induction training. Mission, vision, value should be there. Awareness of staff, right and responsibility, patient rights and responsibility, that has to be there in the induction training. Training on safety. Training of safety means there are a number of safety. Emergency code, radiation safety, surgical safety, laboratory safety, fire safety, occupational safety, employee safety, biomedical safety, medication safety, all. Standard tells training on safety. So all these training, one or the other part of the NABH standard is there. The employee should be aware about this particular safety. So all that is being put over here. So all this safety training have to be given to your person at the time of induction. The induction training include again training on cardiopulmonary resuscitation for staff providing direct patient. Earlier, it was for all the staff. Up to 4th education, it was for all staff. Now it was limited to 3 categories of staff. The doctors, the nurses and the physiotherapists. Those 3 categories of staff that has been limited now. But at the same time, those who are working in the specialized area like your ICU, OT, emergency, neonatal ICU, pediatric ICU, those who are working in that particular area, have to be given additional training, not only the BLS, but ACLS, ATLS, PALS, NALS, whatever you say, all those things you have to give to them. The induction training include training on hospital infection prevention and control. So, infection HIC training have to be there during the induction. Again, orientation to the service standard of the organization. Now, we have already service standard of the organization. Here, though service standard is written in 1, I just would like to elaborate you. Your service standard should be based on 2 aspects. One based on your employee aspect, one based on your patient aspect. So you must have service standard for your patient and service standard training based on your patient and based on your staff. What is your based on your patient? What can be the service standard? What is your time period for an initial assessment? What is your time period for a doctor to see a patient once the registration is being done? What is your policy on informing your patient when a doctor is suddenly absent in something? What is your policy on informing the patient that one of your machine, MRI machine, is not working where your patient have taken an appointment? So that is the service standard based for your patient. It is your service standard. You are responsible for your patient. Coming to service standard for your employee, yes, all your again administrative standard and service standards are almost same, like your time of working, your extra time, your leave policy, your grievance handling policy, discipline, all those things will be coming as part of the service standard. Again, the induction training include an orientation to the administrative policy. We have already seen in the earlier what should be their administration, attendance, leave, contact, all those things should be there in the induction training. The induction training again include a orientation on relevant department unit service program policy. That's what I told you. The induction training will be done by the HR at the time of joining, and later part induction training will be done by the department. So that is what the induction training. So all these training we have seen as part of the induction. Now you may think once you have given induction training, it is enough. No. All what you have seen in that induction training, all these things has to be retrained once in a year. This is not for one time. This is for retrained once in a year. An employee joined your organization in 21 or 19 and you have only one induction training and you are happy because you are given induction training. No. Every year you have to give the retraining of all these training aspects to the induction. So now standard 4, there is an ongoing program for professional training. Now there is professional development and training. There should be a program in the organization. And again for this also, we have to write down a protocol, written guidance have to be there. What is your training and development policy? What is your policy? It means how many hours of training you want each employee should undergo. How many hours that you have to document. So when you write that how many hours, you have to see that it include A to Z employee. So your nurses may have n number of training, your doctors will have n number of training, some other category also will have n number of training, but there are few category. Your marketing people who are never in the hospital, your finance people who never come under the NABH purview because NABH do not go. So they think they have been saved, they don't want to go for any training. No. Every employee of your organization must undergo certain hours of training. What is certain hours? You have to define. I have defined in my organization every year 24 hours training will be given to each employee of my organization, and my nursing department have defined that some 62 hours of training, and my clinicians defined that some 40 hours of training, because that much is happening. It is all you who have to define, but you have to define. You must have a training manual. Now again, and then you must have a training calendar. Training manual, it's okay, you will prepare what all training you will give. Training calendar again for your information. See, you will be preparing the calendar for the next year. So now you will be preparing the training calendar for 2023. So you have prepared for January to December 2023. What has happened? It may not happen. Sometimes, same like when another calamity have come, sometimes another certain infectious disease has come, or some flood or something have come, or maybe some particular holiday fall on that particular day, which you cannot give. So that is your plan. So now you are planning for your 2023. But in 2023, as you are taking this training, you will have an updated calendar. So you will have two calendar. Okay, what are the two calendar? One is your plan, what you have prepared for 2023. And then what is the relevant one which is happening? I have planned in 2023, January 21st, I will have a program in my organization called as HEAL. But it may not happen. I can plan something, I don't know what will happen in 2023. So that may shift from January to February. So in my real calendar, what will be there? This particular training is given not in January, 21st of January, but in the February. So that way it will, because the assessor will check what you have planned and have you given that training to these particular people on that particular day. So let you have that. And each person, you have to, training have to be identified. Now training identification, who will identify? The HOD of the person have to identify. Especially from nursing and all, it is not only the nursing HOD, even the clinical HOD also who should join and identify the training need of that particular person. Based on the training need, and again you will have an annual appraisal. During that annual appraisal also, many of the training need will be identified, and based on that you can give the training. So when you give training, all those mandatory training have to be given, then additional training on skill, on motivation, any new thing, maybe a disease process or maybe some other things, anything you can have, but you should have a training. For B, the organization maintain the training record. As I told you, all your training record have to be maintained. Minimum, the title of the training, the trainer, the list of the trainee with the signature, and content of the training. See, content of the training. Again, once I went to one of the organizations and they very proudly they said, oh, we give communication training to each of my staff, and my senior level have this communication, and my nurses have this communication, and my senior nurses have this communication. Our communication training is very attached. I said, show me your content. What do you have taken in your communication training? One slide. And they were praising that they have very great communication in the central level communication, because they have a central communication group or training group and a peripheral communication group. But slide is what? One slide. Is that enough? Look into our PR. How much communication training you have to give to the people. And the communication training which is given to the nurses and doctors is different. The communication given to the front office is different. Yes or no? So that is what. So all your training content have to be there. When people ask you, show me the content, a first person like me, if it comes, 100% I'll ask, show me the content. And if that is not there, what? Okay. So this is what you have to see, the training record you have to keep. Training also occur when job responsibility. So this was I was telling you. When your job responsibility change, in the first what I said, when you have been promoted from an executive to a manager, or a staff nurse to a team leader, your job responsibility differ, and that particular time you have to give an additional training. It need not have vast big training, maybe 1 hour training, maybe half an hour training, maybe 4 hour training, depending upon how much responsibility you are going to give to that person, and that training need to be given. And moreover, when any new equipment is brought to the organization, that time also we have to give training to the people, those who are using this equipment, and all those records have to be there. Feedback mechanisms are in place for improvement of training and development program. Now, why all this training is being done? Why again and again we are talking training? One of the reasons is that to improve our care. Because many times our patient only say that this girl or this boy or this staff is rude, or this staff do not know this particular thing, their attitude was not proper, or rather their clinical knowledge was not apt. Even nowadays, complaint about the doctors are coming, because patients go to Google, and from the Google they come with all those half knowledge, and they will ask me, madam, do you think that this medicine is good for this particular case, and your doctor have given this medicine? You see the question. So they will question the doctors, what medicine you have given. So that way the people go to Google and come back to you. So we have to see that any training what we give, that will be for further improvement and development. Development of our staff, further improvement in our safety aspect, what is happening in the things like that. Now again, when you take a feedback of the training, you have to take the feedback about the trainer also. How was the training happening? Now maybe after today's session also, you will have a feedback to the staff, those who are come over here. How you felt about the training? Was it useful? Was the content was adequate? Was it clear? Was it explained properly? All those feedback. Because because I have been given a training, or I want to show NABH that this training is being have to be given to this particular group of people, and I started training. But how much people understood, how much they gained, I don't know. And again another feedback, like somebody have given you a feedback that communication of this particular staff is not good. How you take feedback? Not that immediately post test. Post test you can take it, there's nothing like that. But maybe after 3 months, maybe after 6 months, You see that what communication improvement that particular person have brought into their day to day. So that become the feedback. So that way you have to take the feedback. Evaluation of the training effectiveness is being done by the organization. I have already told you. The organization support continuing professional development. Again, now this is what our new thing which NABH brought into this HRM. Organization have to support the development of the person. Now this many people are sitting over here. This is one of the organizational support to all of you. It means when there is a workshop, when there is a conference, when there is something happening, you have to depute your person for that. Sometimes you may depute with full payment or full leave. Sometimes you may give only leave. They may take their own. And each our employee also must decide that no, only organizations and then only I will go. I won't spend 1 paisa from me and then I will not go. No, each one of us has to grow. Each one of us has to learn. And morning you are looking into that only. Learning and growing, training and growing. I'm not telling anything separate. And the same is written over here also. So let us grow in our field. Wherever we are, let us grow. And one of the aspect of our growth is the training what you get. So let us go for various training, either internal training, external training, maybe self-paying or maybe organizational paying. But that we may have to define. HRM 5, staff are appropriately trained based on their specific. So we have seen HRM 3, we have seen induction training. HRM 4, we have seen specialized training. Coming to HRM 5, based on their specific job description. What are the specific job description? Staff involved in blood transfusion services are trained on the handling. Who are involved in the blood transfusion services? Who all? Doctors, nurses, and the technicians, and the people, those who transport that. Yes or no? These people are involved in the blood transfusion. All those people should be given training. You may think, okay, I will give training to nurses and doctors. Why should I give the attender who is handling the blood? Because while handling or taking blood from the blood bank to that area, the attender also have to see that a cold chain is being maintained, how to carry it and go. So you have to give him also the training. So specifically, the safe transport of blood, obtaining informed consent, maintenance of various documents, identification of transfusion reaction, handling transfusion reaction, educating patient and family on donation. So all those things have to be there in your training, and all those people need to be given to the training. Staff are trained in handling vulnerable patients. Who are handling vulnerable patients? Nurses, doctors, and front office staff. OP, you have vulnerable patient in the OP, yes or no? So all those people also have to be trained in the vulnerable patient, how to manage, you have to give training to. So all those records also have to be there with you. Staff are trained in control of restrained technique. Restrained technique, who all should be there? Restraints. Who all should be trained? Nurses and doctors. Nurses and doctors need to be trained on restraints. Now, how often the restraint have to be there? What is the protocol before putting the restraint? The consent need to be taken. What is the validity of the consent? Doctor's order have to be there. What is the validity of that particular order? How many days that validity will be there? And when a patient is on restraints, how often you have to evaluate the patient? All those things has to be there in that, in the restraints. Staff are trained in the healthcare communication, which I have already told you. Healthcare communication in PRE, though it is not over there, specific to the enhanced communication, not only the routine communication. Enhanced communication, when I say, when somebody is dying and you have to inform the relatives. Somebody is being diagnosed as cancer and you have to inform the relatives. Somebody is being brought dead and then you have to tell them that your relative is no more. Or somebody condition is being worsened, you have to inform the relatives that this is there. Somebody need a continuous now dialysis from today onwards, you have to inform the relatives about that. All these are enhanced. All these are not normal communication what you and I expect from my patient. So there has to be enhanced communication have to be there. Staff involved in direct patient care are provided training on cardiopulmonary. Now, induction we have seen cardiopulmonary, and here again it has come into cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Should be given to all the nurses, doctors, as well as the rehabilitation staff, and ATSL and ACLS NRP, PALS training need to be given to the people, those who are working in the specialized area, which I have already explained. This is a duplication of that. Staff are provided training. We have seen infection control, staff should be trained. So here again, staff should be trained. That's why I was telling you, all the training which we have given in the induction should be repeated once in a year. Now HRM 6, staff are trained in safety and quality related aspect. So safety we have seen already there in the induction, and here also now safety will be looking into all those safety. The staff are trained on organization safety program. I have already told you all those safety training. So that have to be given to the staff on every yearly. Staff are provided training on the detection, handling, minimization, elimination of identified risk within the organization. N number of risks are there in our organization. In this room, there are N number of risks. In our working area, there are N number of risks. In our ICU, there are risks. So we have to identify, you have to train the staff how to identify those risks. Especially related to patient, staff, as well as the visiting. Few examples I have mentioned over here: physical like poor lighting, slippery fall, blind corner, open electrical wire; chemical like improper handling, spills and aerosolization; environmental noise, smoke, dampness and heat; process related like needle stick injury, blood and body fluid spill and soiled linen. All those things need to be educated. Staff members are made aware of procedure to follow in the event of an incident. If there is an incident, what they should do, whom to report, how to do an RCA and how to do a CAPA. All these things need to be educated to the staff. Staff are trained in occupational safety. Each one of us know that our occupation is not safe. If you are working in an organization, you are not safe. There are occupational hazards. So staff should be trained on various occupational hazards, and then how to take care of that. If at all any of those things are there, especially needle stick injury, blood and body fluid exposure, radiation exposure, chemotherapy exposure, that we may have to train them. Staff are trained in the organization disaster management, and every staff have to be trained on disaster management plan, and that also based on the National Disaster Management Authority plan, not like what you prepare your organization. Your disaster plan should be based on NDMA guidelines. Staff are trained in handling fire and non-fire emergencies. All fire, all code, we have seen in the induction itself, all emergency, all code blue, code pink, code red, all your code you have to take it into. Staff are trained in the organization's quality improvement program. Every staff need to be trained on the various quality improvement program of your organization, and especially and role of each HOD on the quality improvement, and role of each staff in participating in every quality improvement activity of the thing. And all of you know that NABH standard, when we pass through from AAC to IMS, there are special quality thing mentioned for your lab, your radiology, your blood bank, your ICU, your OT, emergency department. So all these specific area is also there, and general quality also. So training we have completed now. Now coming into HRM 7. An appraisal system for evaluating the performance of staff exists as an integral part of the resource management, HR management. There has to be an appraisal system. Now, performance appraisal is done for staff within the organization. All categories of staff, even including the CEO. Even my appraisal also have to be done by the owners of the organization. So everybody's appraisal have to be done. Now, how often you have to do the appraisal, you have to define. But in my organization, all the CXO level people, every 3 monthly we do the appraisal. We have a KRI KPI, and based on every 3 monthly we do the appraisal. And some nursing we do 6 monthly. But whatever said and done, annually everybody's appraisal have to be done. Once in a year, everybody's appraisal have to be done. And appraisal have to be done even, not only your permanent staff, even for your contract staff. But that may not be done by you, but that may be done by the contractor. The staff are made aware of the system of appraisal at the time of induction. We have seen in the induction. And that particular time only you have to tell the staff that there will be an appraisal for you, maybe on a quarterly basis, maybe on a half-yearly basis or an annual basis. There will be appraisal system that you have to tell the staff. Performance is evaluated based on the predetermined criteria. You cannot just go and evaluate a particular person's performance today. Come, I am going to evaluate your performance. It should be based on the day-to-day basis. Every day what you are observing in that person, every day what you have seen in that person. It will be better if you can keep an anecdotal report of each of your employee, and then at the end of the month it will be easy for you to do a performance appraisal, maybe a monthly basis or a quarterly. That's all, not required or mandatory. I'm just giving you a little better idea what you can do, but the performance have to be done at a predetermined. What is the predetermined date that you have to think? And it will be, performance will be appraised based on your job description, your key performance indicator, your key result area, as well as your predetermined criteria. There can be a number of determined criteria based on your performance will be this thing. And as I said, it has to be minimum one. Appraisal system is used as a tool for further. Why this appraisal? Not to trouble you, because this can be used as a tool for improvement and as a tool for further promotion, increment, all those things this can be used over there. Again, this performance appraisal will help us to how to know who are the underperformer. Underperformer means those who are not performing in the normal way, they are underperformer. So that also will come to, and then we will have a protocol how we are going to handle the underperformers. Performance appraisal is carried out at a different time frame. We have already said monthly. Now, process for disciplinary and grievance handling is defined and implemented. Now, this is on grievance handling as well as the disciplinary action. Like you must have a written guidance how you are going to handle the discipline in your organization. But only one thing what I want to tell you, when there is a disciplinary action which need to be taken by anyone, it should be based on a natural justice. Like both the party, we have to listen, and the punishment for any categories of the person for same indisciplinary action have to be same. The disciplinary and grievance handling mechanism is known to all. All of you should know that there will be a disciplinary action, and if you are not behaving in this particular, and this has been trained to you or taught to you during your induction period. Disciplinary policy and procedures are based on natural principle. That is what, with looking into one particular party, you should not decide. We have to look into both the party. We may have to listen. And the disciplinary and grievance procedure is consonant with the prevailing law nowadays. Just now, Mr. Samuel was talking about entire wages. He talked only on wages, labor law. In the labor law, it will tell you that how much you can go into discipline, what should be the process. Can you dismiss anyone? Can you terminate anyone? If you have to terminate, what are the process over there? If you want to dismiss someone for a period, what is the process? All those things you may have to follow. That is what the requirement. And there is a provision for appeal. If at all I am not happy with the disciplinary procedure, I can go to the higher authority and appellate authority. So what you should be there in the disciplinary or grievance committee chairman should be lower than the appellate. So your appellate can be your CEO, appellate can be your head of the organization, appellate can be your managing director, and the disciplinary committee chair may be something little below that. Actions are taken to redress out. If there is any grievance, we have to take appropriate action, and we have to inform them that this action is being taken. HRM 9, the organization promotes staff well-being. This is one new. Staff well-being is being added. What is that well-being? You have to see that a healthy lifestyle program will be arranged for the employee, define the working hours, monitoring the workload, giving rewards and recognition. All those things have to be added in our organization. We have to see. Now, especially today, retention of the staff is one of the most difficult things. And if you want to retain, at least some well-being activity have to be carried out so that people will not think only on the monetary basis, but at least the well-being. Recently, I had been to one hospital, and there I found more than 60% of the people are there since last 10 years. Then I asked them why this 60. It's not because of their salary. They have other benefit. Other benefit means entire family health is being taken care. You imagine husband, wife, father, mother, children. So everybody's health is being taken. That is one of the most important things. Many have been given family accommodation, and scholarships have been given to the children's education. These are the three things which we require. So naturally, your salary is less also. What you will do? You will remain there. You will work there. So that way you do that. Then you track performance like absenteeism, overtime. All those we have to record. And other facilities, your dining facility. The otherly what has happened, the Association of Nurse Executive in our country, they have done a study on a national level because it was for nurse executive and last CAHO meeting which they have presented. What they found, many nurses in the interiors do not have even a toilet. They don't have dining place. They don't have changing room. So if you don't give toilet facilities, if you don't give dining room facilities, if you don't give change room facilities, how can you expect the nurse to work over there? So those facilities also have to be given here because that's for nurses. Now I am talking about every employee. So that facility we have to give. Now, health problems of the staff, including every hospital must have a policy on health problem. Some people have insurance, some people have facility for IP, some people have facility for OP, some have 25% concession, some have 50% concession, whatever is there. But you must have a policy for your staff health. That is very important. Health checkup of staff dealing with that. Now, we have seen earlier health checkup at the joining time. Now, here annual health checkup. The staff who was dealing with the patient, direct to patient care, annual health checkup have to be there. It has to be borne. The total cost has to be borne by the organization. What to be checked, you have to define. How many parameters need to be checked, you have to define. Nobody have defined. You can define what all should be there, but see that a particular doctor is being assigned to see the health aspect of the employees. Organization provide treatment to staff who sustain workplace injury. If at all, even though you are health aspect, you give only 50% concession, or you give only 25% concession, or you give only staff, not to the spouse or children, that's all okay. But if your staff sustain any workplace related injury, the entire cost has to be borne by the hospital. The organization has measures to place for prevention of handling or workplace violence. Now again, this is a new workplace violence. Nowadays, there can be violence between two employees. There can be violence between patient relatives and employee. There can be violence between two patient relatives where we may have to involve ourselves. So many type of violence can occur in the organization. So we must have a policy that how can we prevent the workplace violence? Like we can have all those corners have to be lighted if there is no light, and CCTV camera should be kept over there. And where we found in our facility around that this area is dangerous, so there also we may have to give additional. So all those things we have to look into. Now HRM 10 is the personal file of the organization, file of each employee. Each employee must have a personal file. Personal file are maintained with respect to all staff and their confidentiality is ensured. Nobody else can except the HR and the particular person. Nobody can have that thing. And it has to be updated. If I have done something today, and now today after you have this course, when you get the certificate, you have to go and tell your HR that you got the certificate, and that will be updated in the HR. It has to be updated. And your personal file contains personal information regarding the qualification, job description, verification, credential, health status, all those things has to be there. Record of all in-service education and education have to be there in the file. As I told you, it may be difficult to keep it on the record. You can have soft copy or hard copy, but it should be traceable with one click. Personal file contains result of all evaluation. All evaluation means performance appraisal, your health checkup, your lectures or whatever you have taken training, all those will be done. And in addition to that, awards and rewards and punishment, all those things will be there in the personal file. Now, HRM 11, 12 and 13 is same. So, just one I will take and then I will skip the other. 11, 12 and 13. 11 is pertaining to doctors, 12 pertaining to nurses and 13 pertaining to other healthcare workers. And all three are same, there is no different. So, there is a process for credentialing and privileging a medical professional permitted to provide patient care without supervision. So, medical professional permitted by law, regulation and the organization to provide care. So, you have identified medical professional who can give care. Like I told you, if you are working as a cardiologist, you must have which minimum qualification? DM, cardiology, otherwise you cannot. Same like each one. And any additional training if any particular doctor have taken at any particular time, and that also have to be identified. All their education, registration, training, experience, everything have to be there and should be updated. It's already said. The information about medical personnel appropriately verified. All this, whether it is correct or wrong, you have to verify from the place where they have undergone the training. From there you have to verify. Now, in India we get from the MCI website, and in abroad, any letter you send to abroad, immediately you get a reply to that. The medical professionals are granted privileges to admit and care for patient in consonance. So based on their qualification and based on your experience, you are giving privilege to them. Privilege to work, privilege to admit, privilege to treat the patient. All those things will be given. Or privilege is being given under supervision, or privilege is given without supervision. Based on that, we will be giving to them. Requested to services to be provided by the medical professional. This is what lacuna. This is one is lack in every organ, many of the organizations. I will not say every, many of the organizations. You have a record of privileging with the HR department. But how a nurse who is working in the dialysis department or in the 4th floor where your medical patients are there, or in the 5th floor where your surgical patients are there, how that nurse will come to know that this doctor is privileged? How you do? Any one of you can tell me any example in your organization? But it should be known to them and it should be known to others also. Any method you perform in your organization, you follow? You can put it in the, either you can put it in the intranet, and then it is visible to everybody by password protected way they can enter. In my organization also, what we do, we have prepared different folder. One folder for doctors, one folder for nurses, and one folder for other paramedical staff. And these folders are made available to all area where the people are working. So anyone, if they want, they can check. So this has to be there. It should be known to them, that is correct, but it should be known to others. You should have a provision to do that. And medical professionals admit care and for patient as per their privilege. It is clear. Now coming into nursing, same thing. Nursing staff permitted by law, regulation, organization provide care. Education, registration, training and experience of nursing staff are appropriately verified. Information about the nursing staff is appropriately verified when possible. Nursing staff are granted privileges in consonance with their qualification. The requested services to be provided by the nursing staff are known to them. Same like doctors, how you place, the nurses also you have to place, so that if a doctor want to know that whether this girl can assist me in a lumbar puncture, he can look and then he will confirm. And same like nursing professionals care for the patient as per their privilege. Coming into last one, there is a process for credentialing, privileging of paraclinical. Now, according to you, who all are the paraclinical staff? Tell me. So many. See, paraclinical staff, that's very important. Who all are your paraclinical? Your pharmacist, clinical pharmacist and other pharmacist. Your lab, entire lab technologist. Your radiology technologist. Your physiotherapist. Your perfusionist. And your EG, NMG, bronchoscope, endoscopic, all these technicians. So all these are what? Paraclinicals for everyone. So identify paraclinical professionals and their qualification. Now what has happened? This is one problem which many organizations are facing. See, many of the paraclinical staff are not taken training from a reputed organization. Yes or no? They might have worked in some area, some hospital for 2 or 3 years, and then they become an expert in that and they have been taken. So in that case, what you have to do? You have to give an internal test to them. You give an internal test to them and give them few questions, and that answer can be taken, so that by looking into that, you are giving them that particular qualification from your own organization, and then you are privileging them. Otherwise, if there is no proof of their training, then again that questions will be asked in that. So all your this category, all your technology categories of people have to be considered as the paraclinical, and for all of them you have to prepare. So the education, registration, training and experience. Now education, registration. Registration is there for the clinical pharmacist and pharmacist, it is there, and physiotherapist it is there. No other people have the registration. So you will not look into that registration. Those who have the registration, only for them the registration. And then you will be, paraclinical professionals are granted privileges in consonance with their qualification, training and experience. And requested to services to be provided, the paraclinical persons are known to them, as well as here you need not give to the department, especially the area where they are working. That area you can give them the credentials, so they also will know, and that area people also will know that what is being expected them. And paraclinical professionals care for patient as per their privileging. I hope you understood. I hope what is being expected by an organization from the HR point of view, especially if you are going for any accreditation, whether it is a entry level or whether it is a HSCO or whether it is HCO, and this is going to help you.
Thank you very much, madam, for a very comprehensive 13th standard presentation. One thing, can you just throw light on the internal complaints committee? It is a requirement. Some of the entry level hospitals don't even know that it is a requirement.
See, internal complaint committee is a mandatory committee. Okay, it's a mandatory committee. I see earlier this committee was known as post committee, sexual harassment committee. So what happened that even recently also I had been one major hospital. I asked one of the girl, you tell me who is the chairman of the internal complaints committee. She don't know. Then later part her head of the organization, they said that post committee. So now also the organization consider that as a post committee. It is not post committee. Okay, it is now what? Internal complaints committee. Especially it looks into the sexual harassment of the female workers over there. Now in this committee 2-3 important things are there. The chairman have to be a lady. Okay, and there have to be an external member, and that also have to be a lady, a reputed lady. Reputed lady means can be a lawyer, can be a retired principal, can be some person have some value in the society. So such people have to be there, and then of course representative from your depend upon what is your number of employee. From that you can have representative. That's
Anyway,
it.
there is more than 10 employees. We are females. We need to have a.
No. This committee have to be there now mandatory.
Even if there are no
Yeah.
10.
Wherever female employees are there, this committee is mandatory.
Okay. Thank you so much, madam, for a comprehensive presentation.